You know this is Sundown Town, right?
Sundown Town?
Yeah, they said it was.
Was?
But you live here? You don't stay here. So you gonna be here at the dark. I'm just documenting myself to see if I could, like, you know, it's like basically surviving after dark and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so we gonna see like what happens, bro, when it get dark out.
I think it'll be fine.
I think I'll be fine too though. Okay. It ain't really none. They pussy. Yeah, they pussy.
Hey, ain't too much gonna happen.
Oh my God, y'all! Everybody start running. This is a Sundown Town. They telling us that they already know that we're here for a funeral and that we need to get out of here before a certain time. And it's 2025 and I'm in a Sundown Town. It's Washington, Georgia. I'm also inside of a Masonic Lodge. And it is a Sundown Town. Mayday, Mayday, Sundown Town. Bitch, you gotta get out of here.
Meet me in the. Meet me in the. Meet me in the. It's going down.
Yo, hype me up.
What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to Matty P's Urban County Podcast. As you can see by the opening clip and the title, y'all, we talking about Sundown Town, mainly in Georgia. A lot of people told me that Georgia has a lot of sundown towns. I didn't think so, but I got a thought. So I think, yeah, Georgia is kind of like, kind of racist down there. You know, those little backwood, little small little communities and stuff like that. So I said, well, let me see how many can I find in there. I found a lot. But I didn't give all of them because Georgia has quite a few, y'all. So I just gave y'all a few of them to see what they're even. Hey, I'm in St. Louis. And we got two here in Missouri. I know one of them name is Lamar. And I can't remember the other one. But anyway, y'all, we're going to check out this video. And before we do, y'all, I want y'all to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification bell. Also, if you see that hype button, y'all, hype me up, y'all. I'm just trying to get 10,000 subscribers, y'all. So if that being said, let's get to the videos.
Downtown or not. So in my inbox, I'm always asked, what is a sundown town? Where are the sundown towns? I'm interested in becoming a driver, but I'm afraid of the sundown towns. So if you've had an experience or you know what towns we should be avoiding, go ahead and drop a comment. For those of you who do not know what a sundown town is, it is a town where people of color should probably avoid when the sun goes down.
Goes down.
In my case, I try to avoid it at all costs, day or night. But go ahead and drop a comment and help the next driver out.
Yes.
You can't go there after dark, being after dark.
This is a sundown town.
You won't see black.
Have you ever been like in like a predicament where like you were stuck in that area after the sunset?
Yeah, I was out door dashing. When it goes deliver an order and the lady didn't want to take the bag because I'm black.
She told that to your face.
Yeah.
So she paid for the food and requested your service, but because you were black, she didn't want to even talk to you or touch the bag.
Right.
That
Damn.
It didn't even tip.
She didn't even tip you?
It took me 3 months to find a job because of...
Man, you not racist you got to be to pay for some food and say because you black you don't want it. Well, I bet I know she probably reported that lady to Uber Eats, whatever the fuck she driving for, and bet she got it fired. I bet she did. I bet she did out that job. I bet she did. That's, wow, that's crazy as hell.
My skin tone. I got kids. My kids went through it. Like my oldest son, he can tell you like he actually experienced it with a boy that was staying in the neighborhood apartment complex when I first moved up here. And they have a nursery rhyme. In the nursery rhyme, something about a hanging from a tree.
So like they're singing like nursery rhymes about
and
racism.
You didn't move?
In like in your son's face.
And you
Even
didn't
as
move?
a kid, he witnessed the racism like early on. That's crazy.
I can't make this shit up.
This is a motherfucking sundown town. Let me tell y'all about my experience going to Wendy's in this little ass town with no street lights, no nothing. It's like you either drive with your headlights or die. Mind you, this shit happened inside Wendy's. Why this cheap ass lady thought her opinion fucking mattered, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell y'all what went down. I was walking up to the door actually, minding my motherfucking business like I always do. And this lady stopped. Coming out the lobby, she stopped and she looked at me. It wasn't like a crazy weird look, but it was like a look that make you ask somebody like, what the fuck are you looking at? Mind you, it's an old Caucasian lady, so I was respectful and I'm not in my state. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, she looking. I said, what's up? She was like, you not from here. I was like, nah, what make you say that? She said, y'all don't wear those. First off, I didn't know who the fuck y'all was at this point. I was like, no, I'm not from here. I'm from Texas. Then she proceeds to look at my hip and she sees I had. She proceeded to tell me, her exact words was, nah, y'all don't carry those either. I already looked this up. I did my due diligence when I got on the airport with my. Hit me who they was until she said that. She's like, nah, basically just letting me know that like what I'm doing, other people like me don't do. And what makes it worse, I got up the next morning and I also had that thing on me, and my homeboy told me that they don't do that. He didn't brief me. He's knowing where I'm from. He didn't brief me on this. He knows that I carry every day, and he knows that I had it, but he didn't let me know that they don't open carry, or we're not allowed to open carry. Wait, in this town we not. He didn't tell me that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't tell me none of that. His words to me was, boy, you better put that up there. You dead right now. Can I say dead on here? Yeah, you gone right now.
Damn.
I said, for what? It was like, just for having it. They'll get away with it. This town too small.
I know you lying.
Lesson 3. The story was bigger than...
Yeah. What kind of backwoods Billy Bob, the wrong turn heels up out of that city was she in? We're telling him he can't carry nothing because he black. But they can. Man, I'd have been moved out of that time. Boy, I'd been moved out of there quickly.
And being pushed out. At first, I thought the most important stories would be the places where our ancestors had been pushed out, like Tulsa and Rosewood. Baby, those stories, they had me in a chokehold and tears. But they weren't the only stories. It had me for real, in tears. But part 3, Sundown Town number 81, Walton County, Georgia. In parts 1 and 2, we learned about 7 racially motivated unalivings that I found. We learned about our first millionaire. We learned about some of our historic churches and schools. Now we're going to look at our last school before separate and equal, before integration, and the mass lynching that took place at Moore's Ford Bridge.
Celebrate the jolly thunder outside. It's raining.
By 1940s, the Klan and the Night Riders were in full effect. It was not safe for our ancestors to step out of their place during the day or night. Roger Malcolm had an argument with a white farmer. An altercation happened, and 2 weeks later, J.L. Harrison took Mr. Malcolm to jail to pay the fine. On the way back, a mob stopped the car. In the car was Mr. Malcolm, his 7-month pregnant wife, Mrs. Dorothy, and their family, Mr. George and Mrs. May Dorsey. Mrs. Malcolm knew exactly who was doing this, and because she could recognize them, all 4, Mr. and Mrs. Malcolm and Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey, were lynched near the Moore's Ford Bridge.
Oh, I remember the story,
After all of this history, our ancestors started leaving Walton County during the Great Migration. In 1948, the white population decided it's a good thing to help our community rebuild 2 of our churches and schools because, you know, they did just lynch 4 of our ancestors and all. And that's how they put it in the paper. And in 1968, we were still dealing with separate and unequal schools. Our families started demanding equality. We tried separate and equal, but it was never equal. So integration was the only way. But still, in 1982, the Klan was in Walton County and decided to stalk our civil rights marches.
Put the headphones on. Put the headphones on real quick.
Okay.
You got to listen to this. It's going to blow you away.
You've heard about Sundown towns, right? Well, today I need you to just have a seat. Let's talk about it. Because, see, some of y'all think that when you hear that term, Sundown Town, that it's talking about the past. But that's not always true. So let's talk about what's happening right now, okay? Forsyth County, Georgia. In 1912, white mobs expelled all 1,098 black residents by force, violence, terror. I'm talking complete erasure. And as of the 2020 census, over 100 years later, black people still make up a much smaller percentage of Forsyth County's population than they did in 1910. You heard that right? A smaller percentage in 1920 than 1910. In Anna, Illinois, historian James Lowen, who wrote the book, literally, visited that place in 2002. Residents were still openly stating that black people were not welcome. The signs might have came down in the 70s, but y'all, the attitude did not. The demographics did not. Researcher Lowen said it very plainly. He said that for the small towns that are still all white, it's like the civil rights movement never happened.
Damn.
Ever. Like it never happened. And here's the part that should make every one of us stop and pay attention. Sundown towns are still being created, not with signs, with attitudes.
And redlining. Y'all, I told there's still sundown towns in America, y'all. There's still sundown towns in America, and that's why I looked up Georgia, but people say Georgia had a lot of, still to this day, sundown towns in Georgia. I'm looking at Atlanta, Athens, things like that, Cobb County and all that. Damn, but I didn't know that they were separated like that in little smaller areas I never even heard of. I don't live in Atlanta, so I probably really wouldn't know. But damn, you would think Georgia has the second highest black population in America per capita behind Louisiana. Damn, and Mississippi too. Damn, y'all.
With home prices, with zoning laws, with HOA rules, with school district lines that are drawn to keep certain children out, with real estate agents who mysteriously have nothing available when a black family calls. See, they traded the sign for a spreadsheet, but the outcome is still the same. Illinois alone has towns today, right today, Anna, Cicero, Effingham, Pekin, that have populations up to 95% white, with documented histories of hostility toward black residents where people still report Confederate flags, Trump flags, and worse when they drive through. This is not history, this is geography. And you may be living next door to one right now. So what do you do with this? What do you do with this information? First, you know. And knowledge is what? Knowledge is power. And now that you know it, you can't unknow it. Second, Tougaloo College maintains the only sundown town registry in the world. Look up your town. Look up the towns that your friends, family, or even your grandchildren might be talking about moving to. The link is in my pinned comment right here on this post, okay? And third, what you do, you share this information. Because the most dangerous sundown town is the one nobody's talking about, okay? See, they thought silence would protect their nasty, dirty, awful little secrets. Not today, baby. Not today. Hello? All right.
They had a name for it. Sundown towns. Towns across Georgia where black people were not allowed to be caught outside after dark. Not a suggestion, not a preference. A threat backed by violence. In 1912, Forsyth County drove out nearly every single black resident. Night riders posted notices in black homes. You have 24 hours to leave or you die. 5,000 people showed up to watch a black man get lynched. Forsyth County stayed almost entirely white for over 70 years.
Damn.
That wasn't an accident, that was a plan. Robin County had signs posted warning black people not to be in the county after dark. Those signs were reportedly still up in 1975. Cherokee, Cobb, Dawson, Hall. Census records show black populations in these counties collapsed between 1900 and 1920. Not because people moved, because they were terrorized out. And here's what they don't tell you. Many of these towns are still standing, still thriving, built on land that was stolen through fear and murder. No reparations, no acknowledgement, no marker, just silence. Georgia's history books skipped all of this, but we won't. Drop the name of your county in the comments. Let's find out how close this history is to your front door. Follow Black Georgia Hidden History. Because the truth doesn't
Damn.
disappear just because they stop teaching it.
I need to know the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Sundown towns. Let's talk about it. Oconee County, Georgia is 72nd on the list. By 1905, this county was sick with Jim Crow and fits the criteria of a Jim Crow sundown town. Segregation in public spaces, schools, and housing, terror from the hoods, the police, and citizens, violence, or worse. This county had 14 lynchings.
Damn.
Let's learn history. Our ancestors were enslaved here. Plantations here were smaller, but our ancestors were central to the local and household wealth. In Watkinsville, our families were broken up and sold there. Cotton was king in this county. Men, women, and children were forced to work for free. Not only with cotton, but other food crops, and the women would work inside households, often as cooks, nurses, and raising their children. Some men became blacksmiths, carpenters, and masons. We were also hired out for construction, mill work, and road building. Our ancestors also built many of the houses, churches, fences, and roads.
Just listen to this, y'all. Got me heated right now. Got me mad as hell right now. Let me know how y'all think, how it makes you all feel about this, y'all. 'Cause right now, y'all, this here has got me pissed right now. I don't know about y'all, but it's got me pissed. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about this specific story right here.
In the area. After emancipation, church, community, and education was top of the list for our ancestors. Many of our ancestors stayed near Watkinsville and surrounding areas like Calls Creek and Eastville. We bought small plots of land and homes. Some of our ancestors also became sharecroppers. The church became the heart of the community. By 1885, churches like the original Bethel Colored Missionary Baptist Church, now Bethel Baptist Church, Mount Zion Baptist, and Shady Grove Baptist. By the early 1900s, church also doubled as schools, meeting places, and political centers. Our ministers were educators. They took their leadership seriously. They coordinated voter registration drives, community education, and mutual aid. From the 1870s, our ancestors were showing up to vote. And by 1890, we were finding success within our communities and churches. The Freedmen Bureau's records show many of our ancestors voted here. But make no mistakes, this is a Jim Crow sundown county. And despite our progress during emancipation, they wanted to make sure we knew our place. And by 1905, 8 men were lynched. Come back for part 2 when we learn about the 8 lynchings in 1905 and at our attempts at separate and unequal.
I know you fucking lying.
What the? Man, stop playing. What the?
Sundown towns. Let's talk about it. Coweta County, Georgia is 82nd on the list.
Coweta County?
By 1889, Coweta County was sick with Jim Crow and fits the criteria of a Jim Crow sundown town. We're going to learn about 8 racially motivated unalivings in this 3-part series. And one of these was attended by over 2,000 people. And they took souvenirs. Let's learn history. Our ancestors were enslaved in this county. We were almost half of the population here. We were openly sold and worked on their cotton fields, while the white people built generational wealth from our free labor. During enslavement, though, our ancestors found faith in the enslaver's God. In 1842, Noonan Chapel Episcopal Church was founded, and we had school in the church. In the 1850s, Mount Vernon First Baptist Church was established. Remember that church for part 3 of this series. 1859, the newspaper tells us one of our churches in Noonan was burned down. By emancipation, we had our first official marriage here. But in the local newspaper, the Noonan Herald, in 1865, they were already setting us up and setting themselves with a superiority mindset. Child, the way they talked about us was downright gross. Before we even had a chance, our place was being made here in Coweta County. 1869, Fred G. felt justified in unaliving a black man after an argument about money. According to the paper, the case was discharged. They fully felt justified to do whatever they saw fit to our ancestors in this brewing Jim Crow sundown town. 1875, we had a Presbyterian church with a white pastor because the local black pastors were speaking too much truth, according to the newspaper. 1876, we started leaving this county, but those that stayed by 1881, baby, some of our ancestors were wealthy and had a summer resort and a school in Chalk Level in Noonan. But this was a brewing Jim Crow sundown town waiting to show its ugly head. In 1881 in Sonoa, we got too uppity, and as a result, according to the newspaper, Hansler assaulted this black man so bad, it's unlikely that he survived. In 1887, we had neighborhoods like Negro Town, according to the newspaper. 1889, our ancestors established the McClellan Academy in New York. If you've learned anything and you've made it this far, please leave me a comment and engage. I'd really appreciate it. Come back for part 2 when we learn just how this place earned the title of a Jim Crow sundown town.
Hell no. Come on, wait to the no.
To Darien, Georgia, a town that looks like a southern postcard come to life, complete with charming historic sites, picturesque waterways, and oh yeah, a deeply uncomfortable racial history. This is a place where the past isn't just lingering in the background, it's sitting on the front porch with a cold sweet tea, pretending it's minding its own business. Darien has a long history of segregation, and while some might argue that history is in the past, the present hasn't exactly been winning diversity awards. The population is overwhelmingly white, and black visitors often describe a palpable sense of being watched. Like you've walked into a party where everyone knows each other and no one invited you. Locals will happily take your money if you're passing through to enjoy the area's attractions, but don't expect the same enthusiasm if you decide to stick around after sunset. Think of it like being at a restaurant where the waiter is all smiles until you ask for dessert, and suddenly they're clearing your table. Darien's uncomfortable reputation isn't just anecdotal either. Racial tensions here have bubbled beneath the surface for decades, and stories of exclusion persist to this day. Visitors and even residents of color often describe an unspoken rule. You're tolerated, but only up to a point. It's the kind of place where the phrase, "bless your heart," can sound less like kindness and more like a veiled warning. To be fair, not everyone in Darien is stuck in the past. There are efforts to move the community forward, but let's just say progress is moving at the pace of molasses in January. If you're planning a visit, enjoy the scenic views and historic charm, but maybe head back to your hotel before the sun sets. Number 2, Elwood, Indiana. Sliding into second place is Elwood, Indiana, a town where time seems to stand still, and not in the charming, step back into history kind of way. Instead, Elwood's reputation for being a sundown town feels like a relic stubbornly clinging to relevance, much to the frustration of those who believe in progress. Nestled in the heart of the Midwest, Elwood looks like the kind of place you'd stop for a slice of pie at a roadside diner. But if you're black, you might think twice before lingering. This town's sundown legacy...
Yeah, that's why I would say, boy, I don't like to fly, so I drive a lot. And I try to avoid all small towns, whether I'm driving from California back to St. Louis, or if I'm going to Memphis or Orlando or Colorado, I try to avoid all small towns. I stay on the highway. I don't mind if it's going to take me 45 minutes outside. Hey, I don't care. But I'm not riding to those small sundown town, especially if I got to go through Texas. I don't do that. Let me know in the comments what you all do. Do you all avoid those small towns?
Is less of a shadow and more of a neon sign flashing "not welcome here." The history is chilling. Elwood was one of several Indiana
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Some Georgia families had a county line they were told not to cross after dark, and nobody had to explain it twice. It might have been a road, a bridge, a railroad track, a town square, a stretch of highway where your granddaddy lowered his voice and said, "We do not go through there at night." For some families, it was about race. For some, it was about old violence. For some, it was about a place with a reputation so deep that even children felt the warning before they understood it. Georgia has beautiful towns, front porches, church bells, courthouse squares. But Georgia also has memories in the ground. There are places where people knew when to leave, where black families carried instructions for survival, where poor families knew which doors were not for them, where teenagers were warned that pride could get you hurt. And the hard part is, many of those warnings were never written down. They were passed in car rides, in kitchen whispers, in a look from somebody older who had seen enough. Today, some people say that was a long time ago. Maybe it was. But if your family still remembers the road, the fear did not disappear just because the sign came down. Did your family have a place they warned you about?
Wow,
How
hell
many
yeah.
Georgia stories were never taught because people were just trying to survive them or shamed to stay quiet? Comment carefully if you remember and follow for more Georgia history that does not look away.
I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it.
Part 2, Sundown Town, number 76, Fitzgerald, Georgia. We left off learning about how this town very politically voted for our ancestors to be removed from living and working there, and how we started our own community right outside the city limits called Queensland. Let's continue learning. By the turn of the century, we were still building churches in Fitzgerald. Churches like Joy Temple was founded by our ancestors in 1910. And by 1915, we had our first school in Queensland called the Queensland Industrial School. Our money was okay during the day in Fitzgerald, but by night, we better be out of this Jim Crow Sundown town. Through the 1920s, we were focused on our community, our church, and education in Queensland. But danger is always lingering in a Jim Crow sundown town. And by 1938, while looking for someone else, a mob formed in Fitzgerald and came across the McDuffie family. They beat the father, the sons, aka the McDuffie brothers, and put a rope around their necks. They beat up Mrs. McDuffie. Little 6- and 8-year-old McDuffies were also threatened with lynching, and the 90-year-old grandmother was beaten too. They had to make sure we still knew our place, and that was anywhere except Fitzgerald. So through the 1950s, we made our community in Queensland a safe place to be day or night. It's where we ate, played, and slept. We could still spend our money in Fitzgerald, but still not live there. If our ancestors ventured into Fitzgerald during the day, they were met with the terrible Georgia Jim Crow laws. Even after the Civil Rights Movement in this Jim Crow sundown town, in 1988, there were still 2 proms, a white prom and a black prom. Yeah, and after all of that, can anyone share a first-hand account about this place, past or present? Tag them in the comments.
My thing is this, y'all. Why in the hell would you want to spend your money there? For real, y'all. I don't understand that. I mean, man, this just pissed me off. And to be ironic and honest, the city I live in right now, in high school, we couldn't walk through where I live in right now. This was in the 80s, y'all. This was the sundown town where I live in right now. But right now, it's like 98% black. You know, till our time changed. When enough blacks started moving in, the whites were getting older and you know, they didn't want to deal with black people being around them, so they just gradually moved on out. But yeah, y'all, if you entertain this video, y'all, let me know, y'all. And if you want some more videos like this, let me know, and I'll produce some more from you all, okay? But until next time, y'all, I want y'all to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit the notification bell. Also, y'all, before I go, if you live in a sundown town or you know where a sundown town is, tell me your state and the city it's in, y'all. I really want to know. I really want to know. On that note, y'all, I'll see you when I see you, but you'll see me before I see you. Peace. I'm outie.